How's it going, everybody? Coming to you today because we are going to be installing the brand new IMS 3.6 gallon tank on the Yamaha TW200. We're going to be doing a step-by-step guide showing you everything you need to know on how to do your install. So if you're interested, stick around. We're going to get right to it. When you get your tank in the mail, it'll come with a bag full of goodies, all your parts, instructions, and some stickers, and you'll get the tank itself. It is available in several different colors. This is the natural, which is kind of a clear see-through type. You should be able to see your fuel level in this one. The other color ones you won't be able to see your fuel level in, obviously, because they are colored. Your instructions that come with it are pretty straightforward. There's a couple of photos on the back that'll make it easy to follow. Also, you can use this video as a guide. It'll show you everything you need to do. Under your rear fender, you've got two 10mm bolts that hold the seat on. You'll need to remove both of those. As you can see, mine's a little dirty. So if you want a little bit easier install, make for sure that you wash underneath here before you start. After you remove both of these, make for sure you keep them because you will need them to reinstall your seat. With the bolts removed from underneath the seat, you should be able to just lift up and pull back. There is a suction cup that attaches to the tank and this little lip that attaches under here, so you have to kind of up, back. You've got your tank mounting bolt here that you expose when you remove the seat. This is also a 10mm. After you remove your bolt, go ahead and pop out your fairings that are on each side. They're just a rubber plug type. You don't want to yank on it because you don't want to break the plastic, especially if your plastic's older. Just gently pull out and they'll come off, and then you should be able to lift and move your tank. You'll want to make for sure that your fuel is to the off position. You've got your fuel line that comes from the tank down into the carburetor. You will need to move this clip up off of the carb, and you're going to remove the fuel line off of the carburetor. Again, make for sure that you're in off. If not, all of your fuel will run out. There still could be fuel in the line, so make for sure to be ready with some paper towels or some sort of absorbent material to catch any spilt fuel that might come out. I've also got a fuel container here ready to drain the tank and catch as much fuel as I can with. Okay, so you saw it was just a few drops that came out, which was good. Now I'm going to go ahead and drain my tank into my government approved container, and to do that, just make for sure that you're lined up and you'll open your petcock and you'll drain the fuel into your container. Once you have ran out all the fuel with it in the on position, you can switch it to the reserve position, and that will help get rid of any extra fuel that you may have in your tank. After you've recovered as much fuel as you could from your tank, you're now ready to remove your factory tank and set it to the side to start on the next step. It'll just lift up in the back and kind of wiggle it to the rear. And it'll come off. If you catch any wires like I did, just kind of push them back down and you'll be ready for your next step. After you've removed as much of the fuel as you can, and after you remove the tank from the bike, the next step, you're going to remove your factory petcock and install it onto the new tank with the included gasket and hardware. On the TW tank, you have Phillips head JIS screws that hold the Petcock in. You'll need a good set of screwdrivers to remove that, especially if your tank is older. Those could be seized up. Mine is a 2024, so luckily everything should be relatively easy to remove on mine. Be mindful that even though you've removed as much fuel as you can, there's still going to be some fuel in here. So when you remove your Petcock, be ready with something in case you leak any fuel. You don't want to leave a mess. Gingerly pull out your Petcock, and you can set your factory tank to the side. After you remove your factory Petcock, make for sure that you install it into the tank the proper way. Your dial for your on-off reserve should obviously be outside. If you put it in the wrong way, you can't reach your dial, and your hose will be going towards the front of the bike away from the carburetor. So just make for sure that you install it the proper direction. Take the included gasket and install it. And then, again, making for sure that you're facing outward with your dial. It's a very tight fit, and there we go. After you get your Petcock installed, you're going to take the included 5 by 12 millimeter bolt, and the instructions doesn't call to reuse these little rubber washers that were on top before. I'm going to put them on and see if I can get enough thread engagement with the bolt and make for sure I don't have anything leaking. The bolt head size is an 8 millimeter. So you'll need an 8 millimeter to tighten these up. The one on the side with the hose, it's a little difficult to get in there because it's just kind of tight fitting. Just make sure you don't cross thread anything. And then take your 8 millimeter of choice, tighten everything down. The instructions don't give a torque. I'm just kind of gonna go where I think is tight without stripping. I'm using just 2 fingers, my thumb to balance and 1 finger to kind of pull, because I don't want to over tighten, but at the same time you don't want any leaks. Once this is installed, you're ready for your next step. It's not part of the instructions, but something I like to do is once I install the Petcock, put a little bit of fuel inside the tank, just enough to cover the bottom of the Petcock, and you can kind of see the fuel moving around here on this natural colored tank. That was one reason why I wanted this color. But I can see I'm covering the Petcock. I have no leaks, no drips, no nothing. So I know my Petcock is installed properly and not gonna leak on me. Next, we're gonna mount the front bracket, and you'll use the longer bolt that's included, and then it'll go washer, it'll go mount, washer. This will be your frame area, washer, spacer, mount, and then the nylock nut. And you'll feed this in from left side, clutch side, to brake side. And it'll look like that. Here is the included nylock nut. The instructions say to tighten it up to where you still have some movement, but you want it snug. You're gonna need a 10 millimeter socket or wrench to tighten one side while you hold the other side with a 10mm. I'm going to go a little bit tighter. Okay. I've still got some movement, but it's pretty tight. For the next step, you're going to take these 3 L brackets. You're going to install one on the back of the tank, one on the right side and the left side of the tank. The one on the back, the L shape, goes downward. You'll use the supplied 5x12 millimeter bolts, and those are the ones that take the 8mm socket or wrench to put on. For your side brackets, they will go with the L on the out. This is where your plastics will come and snap into place. You'll take these rubber grommets off of the back of your factory tank, and then you'll install them into the L brackets that's on the outside. This is what will catch and hold your plastics. So they're easier to install once you get these mounted to the tank. So mount these up first, but just know that you will need to install your rubber grommets from your factory tank onto the rear of the new tank. You'll notice that your factory grommets are oval shaped, and when you remove them from the factory tank, they're long ways, not tall. So you'll want to install them back onto the new tank in that long ways pattern to make for sure that it fits your plastics good. And they're super easy to go in. Once you've got this mounted, they snap right in. After you get your side brackets and grommets installed, take the supplied grommet and insert it from the bottom up into this rear post. Now we're going to slide the tank on, and remember this bracket up here that we tightened up but we left loose? We're going to line it up with the underside of the tank to make for sure that we got a good mounting point. We're then going to remove the tank and tighten this assembly up all the way. Everybody's bike's going to be a little bit different on this step depending on how you initially put your bracket. If you had it just right, you might be good to go immediately. If you're way off, you might have to do some more adjusting. And take your tank, slide it forward, get your plastics out of the way, and on your rear post back here, you can take just a smidge of grease. If you don't have grease, don't worry, but it just makes sliding that on and off a little bit easier. Then we will adjust to make your plastics fit and adjust to make the front, and then we know we can pull this off and tighten up that front bracket. Now that you've got your bracket at a close guess on where it needs to be, you're going to take your supplied large grommet, you're going to take metal spacer, install it, you're going to take supplied bolt and washer, and you're going to feed them through and make a nice little sandwich like that for each side. Again, that's going to be your large grommet, your metal spacer installed, bolt and washer, and then those will come from the bottom up in. It's going to take a little bit of finessing, and again, this part's going to be different for each person's bike depending on exactly how close you got that. You might have to move it just a little. Make for sure your plastics are snapped into place. That way you know you've got a good line. Make for sure that the rear stud is going up through that rear mount on the back of the tank. That way you know that's in proper place. And then you can kind of wiggle this around to make for sure you get a good fit of the rubber grommet into here, helping to protect your bike. After you get your bracket where it's supposed to be and tightened up, then use the hardware that I showed you just a second ago, install it here, and just tighten it up. You'll see your rubber grommets starting to smash, and make sure it's tight. You're good to go on the front. Do the same thing on both sides of this bracket. There's one here and one on the other side. I'm only showing one side but there are 2 of them obviously. And then we're going to go to the back of the tank, and we are almost done installing this. Back here at the rear of the tank, you're going to take one of the included large grommets, the included washer, and your factory tank screw. And you're going to take the big side down, and you can smash it onto the post. Like so. Take your included washer and the original tank bolt and tighten that down. And remember, this one is a 10 millimeter as well. Tank is now mounted, tight. We're ready for the final step. Here we are back at the Petcock. Remove this factory hose. Take the new included hose and hardware. You're going to attach it to the carburetor and to the Petcock. It comes with the hose and 2 new hose clamps. You'll take and slide it all the way on the Petcock. Take your clamp, which at this angle is a little gimpy. If you need to, you can use pliers. And slide it over and onto the Petcock. We'll do the same thing here on the carburetor. Take and attach it and push it all the way down. It'll have a little bit of spring back filling, and it'll try to kick itself back some. Just make for sure you get a good tight seat. Make for sure you go down plenty far enough for your clamp to hook. Go. Again, you can use pliers, or if your fingertips are tight enough, strong enough, you can just use your fingers and work this down. Okay, so now our fuel line is connected, our tank is installed. All we've got left to do is to put the seat on, connect it with the 2 bolts, and this install will be done. When you're reinstalling your seat, remember you have to catch your front lip underneath here. You'll want your plastic edges to go underneath the edge here. Make sure you're not pushing your plastics out on each side. You'll come in a diving motion and kind of have to wiggle it a little bit usually, and then it should line right up. Again, watch your plastics, make sure they're in the right place. That feels like it connected. Now I just got to put the 2 10 millimeter bolts that hold the seat on in the back. You just want to make for sure that you line up your bolt hole and the mount on each side. Use your 10 millimeter factory bolt. Get it started. Okay, put a little bit of fuel in. Turn your Petcock to on. You will be starved a little bit of fuel at first. I'm going to go ahead and choke it. Give it a little bit of throttle. So there you have it, everyone. That is the install of the IMS 3.6 gallon tank on the Yamaha TW200. It's pretty straightforward. Follow the steps, you'll have no problems. Thank you for watching. Check out IMS, link in the description. They'll be more than happy to set you up with the tank that you need and the color that you need. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps.